Okay, so our first word comes from our session guest speaker, Emlyn. I'm so happy that you're happy. That's brilliant. Good. So let's see, everybody, get your fingers going. Let's get typing and let's hear those opening words for today. How are you feeling today, everybody? Here comes Melanie, Teresa, fantabulous. Danae. Right, now we're getting all these logins. Hello, Kalia. So nice to have you here. Brilliant. And Nokotula, brilliant. So nice to see you. Here comes Anna, all the way from the UK. Brilliant. Hi, Teresa. Oh, you see, I love it when they put their cameras on. Tara's coming in from Swaziland. Okay, so here's some words. Samantha excited. JJ's curious. Alanda's blessed. Corin's ready. Nice. I love these words. Is anybody feeling like our word for the year? What's our word? Our 2023 word. Do you all remember? Is anybody feeling like that word? I am, actually. Oh, unreasonable. Love it. Love it, love it. Teresa, actually, Emlyn was also at our spa. I'm not sure if he attended the unreasonable session. Emlyn, I don't know if you were there for Will Godaura's session, but it blew my mind. I've shared it with everyone, and I think we've now all adopted this word called unreasonable service, unreasonable delivery. So it's brilliant. Okay, sounds good. Okay, everyone, we don't have Emlyn for long. So before we start, because I normally do this at the end, I'm going to do it now. Can I please ask everybody to put their video on, because I'd like to take a screenshot if you don't mind. So everyone, please put your video on. Emlyn, can you stop sharing for 1 sec, just so that I don't get your divine. Okay, let me let Shanae in. Nice. Oh, there's Kalia looking all gorgeous as usual. Hi, darling. Hello, Almarie. Nice. And Melanie, I know that office all too well. Sam, oh, stunning. Hello, Saida. She looks gorgeous. Okay, everyone, cameras on. I want to take a quick group picture. Jade's joining. Devon. Cameras on, everyone. I want to see your beautiful faces. And I'm going to take a pic to start today because we don't have Emlyn on right up until the end. Okay, 1, 2, beautiful smiles, everyone. Done. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm going to hand over to Emlyn. We're very lucky to have the little bit of him that we have today. So I'm going to stop talking now, hand over to him when he goes, because he's rushing to another meeting. Then I'll take over again and do our little conclusion. So Emlyn, the floor or the camera or the whatever is yours.
Thanks, Marissa. Thank you, everybody joining today. Hello, how's it, as we say in South African, I think. I'm Emlyn Brown. I'm the Global SVP for Wellness and Wellbeing for the ACCOR Group based here in Paris. I've been working in the wellness and spa industry for far too long. I won't tell you how long, because that'll age me immediately, but let's say over 20 years, shall we? I had the very fortunate opportunity to live and work in Cape Town a number of years ago, for those that are living in South Africa. And today's session is really driven by Marissa, which is to look at the commercial elements and how to create sustained success within the wellness and spa landscape. It's around about 40 minutes. If we do get a chance, any Q&A at the end, I'll try and endeavor to do that. Or feel free to give questions to Marissa. I'm more than happy to respond or give my details. You can also follow me on LinkedIn. I do respond mostly to any DMs that come to me. And so today's idea is really to talk about the commercial success. How can we derive commercial performance, particularly now within this modern post-COVID acceleration of the adoption of wellness and wellbeing practice? And I know a number of you have been through that period. We won't talk about it at all today, but we are now we're going through a very challenging period during that time, but we're now coming into a really exciting period of wellness and wellbeing. I think for anybody working in the spa and wellness industry, we should now feel blessed. It's been a very challenging 20 plus years to make us legitimate, particularly in the hotel landscape. But I think now's our time, and now it's time to capitalize on that in terms of our work and how we create success. And so really, if you think about what's happening right now, what we're calling it in ACCOR is a super acceleration of the adoption of wellness and well-being practice. What we know within ACCOR is, for example, that 4 out of 5 of our guests coming into our hotels, we have over 5,500 hotels globally, are taking a daily step every day to improve their health and well-being. That's a really powerful statistic for us, right? To understand that no matter what guests come into what hotel, they're doing something to improve their health. And therefore, for us as hoteliers and also as spa and wellness professionals, meeting and matching and exceeding that need is both a challenge, but also a significant opportunity. It means that the interest is there in our industry. The interest is there in improving health. And our messaging and how we capture those guests is really going to be down to us. And I think what we're seeing now is probably a change in our consumer profile. So when we talked previously, say 15, 20 years ago about the spa consumer, it's very much sort of pampering driven and beauty driven, right? So people would come in, they'd have a treatment experience. It's maybe 1 or 2 hours sort of experience. They wouldn't think too much about it. It would be pretty much part of their sort of a treat or something they don't do very regularly, right? And that's going to change. What we're seeing now is a very, very strong uptake in people taking a lot of more care of themselves in terms of their dietary requirements, in terms of their movement and exercise, in terms of their beauty regime. They're a lot more educated in terms of what they want and what their outcomes need to be. They're taking multiple treatments over multiple months in different outlets for different types of things. And so we have a much more sophisticated consumer. And that consumer is also getting a little bit younger as well. So this younger generation coming into the leisure market and into the luxury market, particularly in spas, got far, far different values than, say, the previous generation or the baby boomer generation, which form the majority of our customers. And we're calling an ACCOR is more what we call a value-driven consumer. So somebody who understands the value of their spend. They're very much about results. They look at the price point, but also the value and the outcome in a much stronger way. They're looking to have these sort of international experiences and modern experiences that they see on Instagram or on social media. They really want to fix their sort of facial and body issues in a strong way, and a much more propensity for medical or medi-driven experiences. I wouldn't say more equipment-driven medical experiences. They're exercising very regularly, so they understand the power of exercise. They have very strong dietary requirements. It's a very sophisticated user and consumer that's in our market. It both creates opportunity for us to capture that market, but also challenge to make sure our treatments, our philosophies, our wellness policies are meeting those needs. I also think, controversially maybe or not, that people do want to be pampered again, right? So the idea of pampering was removed from our vernacular over the last sort of 5 years, and wellness replaced it. But I do think it's a very, very strong place for people just to feel pampered, to feel warm, to make incredibly gracious and luxury experiences and treatments in their spas. And people are demanding that. And so we're seeing that being a strong part of what we're delivering within our ACCOR spas and wellness spaces. I think the first sort of area, if you want to be commercially successful, is you must be embracing technology in all its forms, right? And that's from both the reservation process, the online process, the embracement of social media, ensuring you're very, very strongly placed in terms of your SEO and SEA, the search engine optimization for those that want to understand that, where your Google ranking is, and certainly within reputation. So for me and for our discussions with our spa leadership, if it's not online, we're not doing it. So the ideas of doing printed materials and flyers and all the things we previously did are sort of out the window. And if it's not going to be an online vehicle or online presence, what we're saying is that's not really how we want to work and where we want to go. Right? So we've got a much more tech savvy group of consumers coming in, and we need to embrace that and understand that when positioning ourselves from a sales and from a marketing point of view. The idea of community, so this is the second part I would say, is that there's a much stronger community, both local and also around you in your spas, but people will listen to their peers, and they have a great opportunity to share information about where they've been, what they like, what they don't like, again, via their social media networks, right? So the immediacy and the speed of response for that is quite interesting. The word of mouth has been accelerated. And therefore you as a spa leader can capitalize on that by ensuring your reputational management, right? So from TripAdvisor to other platforms you're using in your different locations, where reputation becomes very important, is key. And actually driving that reputation at the end and conclusion of treatments or through your regular consumers also becomes a very strong part of your commercial success, right? So understanding who your consumer is, who the regular consumer is, and incentivizing them to create referral for you or to create reputational enhancement for you becomes a primary part of your role as a leader. I think we're also seeing last year a more casual, a more accessible, more democratic approach to wellness and spa. The idea of our conversations, our service values, how we're approaching our service touch points with our guests is, again, more casual, more of a first name basis. The sort of stuffiness of services being removed a little bit, even within our 5-star luxury hotels. And that's really what our consumers want, is a much more eye-to-eye service value and contact, and particularly when they're working and experiencing with therapists. I'll go into a bit more about that a little bit later. But that's sort of the context of what we're seeing right now with a newer consumer, younger consumer coming into the market, and what we need to do to be successful in capturing them and working with them. So we're going to go into more of the detail now about how to create that success. And many of this will seem very, very familiar to all of you, all right? But I think that the message now for us is that execution is really your differentiator, right? So the idea of creating, let's call it competitive advantage or a stronger intellectual property through things like product company selection or your treatment modalities and so on is a little bit out the window. Right? What really is happening now is the idea that creating an environment whereby your values or your consumer experience is driven from authenticity is probably really where the key is. So for us, execution is king. And in order for you to execute well, the first we need to have is an incredible group of people working for us. And we know that the employment market, particularly within therapists, and even in all positions within spa and wellbeing, is challenged right now. There's a lot of competition out there. There's attracting the right talent and making sure it stays with you. I think the first point for this, for me, is about your value system. So what are the values you have within your spa? What do you hold dear, right? What are your mission? What's your mission and vision as a business? What are the non-negotiables for you as a brand? And when you're doing your hiring, you're making sure that those vision and mission and those values are the very, very forefront of your selection process, right? And they can be many, many different things. But I think too often we take the recruitment process not for granted, but we're so desperate to bring people on board and get them into positions, we actually forget about whether they're going to be a great match for our team. And I think that our message to our team leaders is, do not compromise your values in terms of your recruitment process. And it might lead to some short-term pain in terms of your manning and your staffing, but it will lead to longer-term commercial success for you if you have the right team on board. Because that right team that has the common values that you use to hire them in the first place will become stronger, will work together more cohesively, and therefore will create more success. And so the short-term pain of maybe not hiring somebody into your team, but waiting for the person to come on who has the right values that align to your values as a team member will pay long-term benefit. So I think the first question is to be patient about that and to make sure you're matching your values of your team members and your new hires to the ones that are there. At the same time, it's important, and I wouldn't say to be ruthless, but certainly to be ruthless about your business, right? If you're having team members within your group that are causing disturbances, they're costing you money. They're actually impacting your commercial success. And therefore, your need for you to possibly remove them or train them or improve them is vital if you're going to maintain a commercial success within your company and business. And I think too often we also turn a blind eye because that person's a good therapist, but they don't do other parts of their role very, very well. And I think that's not going to create the strong cohesion that you need. So for us and for me, the values you have within your team, the hiring principles you create for them bringing them on board becomes even more important in this day and age. I think if you stick to those values, you stick to that principle, you're going to create a cohesive team, and a stronger team that's been together for a long, long time becomes much more attractive as a consumer, right? They have regular faces in your business, not seeing the turnover of staff that they see within other spas, and that leads to more repeat custom. And fundamentally, generating repeat custom is the most vital part of what you want to try and do. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. This is an important one to me. And I think the second part, again, is fundamentals of your business. So we talk about commercial success, where we think about it as being some amazing sales and marketing plan, or maybe some absolutely outrageous social media campaign and program you do that generates all this money that becomes really, that's sort of the big goal kick that you actually do. And really, it's more about creating a foundation of success that starts firstly with your team. But for me, it starts secondly with your commission and your levers, right? Your reward system. And your reward system is not just about money. It's about all the verbal and non-verbal rewards you give into your team over the length and duration of their employment. But certainly it applies to commission, all right? And so this might be a bit of a controversial type of discussion. But I think in many cases, when you look at your commission structure, you might find you're actually reinforcing the wrong behavior, not the behavior you actually want, right? And I'll give you an example of this, and probably the chat box will light up with different messages and different people saying this is not true, right? But for example, in many cases within spas that I've worked in and seen, we're giving sales commission or commission to therapists for delivering treatments. What reward is that given to your therapists? What part have they played in actually bringing that person into the business, right? For me, sales and commission is based on what I call plus performance. And plus performance is things that they do above and beyond their standard and normal role, all right? So when you're providing commission, simply because somebody's delivered a treatment and they've not had any impact on the reason why that person's walked into the door, then I think you're rewarding the wrong behaviors. So for example, plus commission could look like you're rewarding to a far higher degree for repeat customers coming into your business. You're rewarding your therapist, your team members, if they're mentioned by name on social media or on reputational platforms like TripAdvisor. You're certainly heavily rewarding people for retail sales at a plus and above their normal role. And so I think that the message very clearly is take a look at how you're rewarding your team from a commission point of view, and make sure that that commission is aligned to the values of your business, but also aligned to what you expect from them in creating what I call plus performance, right? Simply rewarding people for doing their job on a daily basis does not lead to continued sustained commercial success. And I think the levers that you can pull, which is commission and reward, becomes a really, really important tool for you. Because once you get those levers right, this becomes like rowing downstream, right? People are incentivized, they're clear, they're motivated, they're pushing beyond your budget and your targets in order for them to achieve their goals. And you've got a great sense of satisfaction that your goals are being achieved commercially. And the second part is, too often, I'm making a general comment here, that we don't think about one of the most important, if not the most important group of people in your business. And that's those people that are taking reservations and having initial contact with your guests from your reception and front line, right? So in many cases, I'm not seeing a reward structure or commission structure for that group of people. Now, if you think about it in any other sales environment, those people that are closing the sale, and that is those people that are taking the phone calls or having the reservation systems online, they're the most heavily rewarded people in the business. But in our business, they're probably the least rewarded people. So for me, your front line, those that are taking reservations, have the opportunity to upsell, to take a 60-minute treatment to a 120-minute treatment, to actually close on a retail sale area, should be the ones that are most incentivized. I'll leave it at that, because I know there's a lot of controversy from all my ex-therapists who are online today, all right? I think that the third part is what I would call fostering teamwork, or I would say, let's call it expecting what you expect. Now, creating a culture of value, first you have your team on board that have got the same values as you, but making sure that we're actually training and developing and expecting what we expect from them on a daily and regular basis is a vital part of creating a successful team. And I think this is mostly about how we deliver and how we create training and what we do into the training. And again, training for me, I come from a sporting background, from a sports coaching background, is the idea of creating daily, weekly, monthly expectations for your team members that is measured in terms of what you expect from them from a service delivery or treatment delivery point of view. And it's also assessed, right? So your team members know very clearly where they're ranking and where they sit within their performance in the terms of their delivery. I'm constantly doing mystery calls or mystery contacts to my own spas, right? So I'll make reservations and bookings, and I'll check the process of how I was served and what I was done. We still remain in a very phone-driven environment, right? As many of your guests will do the online app or do the online booking, no problem. But many of our guests still call our spas and call our wellbeing locations to make direct reservations. We live in an age where phone skills for younger generation are getting worse, right? So anyone out there has got younger children or is very young, right? You're not using the phone anymore. And therefore, you have a group of people taking reservations who are not used to doing the phone. And so for me, the training part for front office is all about developing phone skills, tonality, the idea of how you can actually engage with somebody on the telephone. It's still a vital part of what we do, right? So as much as we've got the idea of online booking taking place, the phone still remains a very important sales tool for us. To create commercial success for yourself, you need to make sure the skill sets that people have are sharp. They're able to communicate well on the telephone and also close out the reservations and upsell on the telephone. And that's quite a skill set. It's one that my older generation developed over the course of many years. But the younger generation coming into the spa world don't have those skills. And so the need for you to dig down, develop that and create that is important. And we do that via scripting. And I would not be fearful about having strong scripting within all of your touch points within your spa to use those scriptings to then create repetitive training development and rehearsal, what we call role play, in order to make sure these people have what we call unconscious competence. They can absolutely very much deliver that service, deliver that touch point, understand their product, understand their treatments in a very, very strong way, and do it in an unconscious way. Once you start thinking about that, what's the impact on commercial success is that we know that reputation for service and for quality and for education will resonate within your consumers. All right. And once it resonates within your consumers, you'll get more repeat business and it becomes a virtuous circle. All right. So I think there's a few little bits there that I think are important to create the foundations for commercial success within your business. And this goes on to what I call back to basics. So I'll give an example. In many times when we see training, a lot of the training we do within our spas is dedicated towards treatment delivery, right? So our therapists will go off, we throw them in a room, they'll do some practice and some hot stone massages for an hour or two, come back, say they've done some training, all right? There's not really been any sort of visual confirmation or check about that. There's been no expectation of what that standard to be reached is going to be, all right? But really where you're putting the training in is into your guest service and guest sequence cycle, right? Because for me, like a restaurant, you may have a bad meal, but if the restaurant design, the lighting, the service, the arrival, the first initial contact, those touch points is strong, you'll still say, that was a good meal. And the same sort of applies to spas, right? We think very much in terms of the actual 60 minutes of treatment delivery, but sometimes we can miss the entire journey around us, right? That is what a spa experience actually is. And so plotting that guest experience and that guest journey, making sure you ruthlessly check, control, and develop that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, right? And you're always training what we call live experiences. And so when I came from a health club and a sales background many, many years ago, we constantly practiced and rehearsed initial contact, greeting, use of eye contact, tonality, how I was approaching a guest in my own body language, how I was escorting a guest into a corridor and into a changing facility, then all the sort of verbal skills that we actually have, right? Including things like a ruthless focus on grooming and on presentation, right? That sets a very, very high standard and bar for you and your team, and it resonates with your guests and your consumers. And again, what's that got to do with creating commercial success? Well, if you think about any successful team and how they develop, particularly from the sporting landscape, right? These are the things that they're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to create a sustained success, right? They practice constantly. They make sure that they have team cohesion. They very, very clearly work to their values. And most importantly, they're constantly repeating and trying to get better on a daily basis. And that's really what the team you should be having should be done by yourself, okay? When we talk about training live experience, that for me is a daily practice, right? So within every day, team members are engaging in some form of rehearsed training. And then you as a spa leader are every day checking and controlling some form of your individual's service process. That could be checking their phone skill, checking their greeting, giving them feedback on a treatment. In many cases, I'm asking my spa leaders to try and experience treatments 2 or 3 times a week, which within the hotels is seen as being a strange thing. But I say a very clear statement to my hotel managers is, well, you're eating in the restaurants 2 or 3 times a week, so why can't my spa leadership try the experience in the spa every week? If you're not trying your own spa, then we have a problem. Only through experiencing yourself and putting yourself in the consumer's eyes can you really work with your team to improve performance. That's about creating commercial success. And then lastly, I think on the fundamental side of things, what I call be the best. And I think that in many cases, from whether it's menu development or it's a number of treatments or the propensity to have far, far too many product companies on my shelves, right? We forget really what our core product is, right? In many cases, your core product still remains massage delivery, maybe 70 to 75% of my spa's deliverables, right? And are we delivering that massage in an exceptional way, right? In many cases, we talk about delivering facials or body treatments in an exceptional way, but we forget our bread and butter, which is our massage and treatment experience, all right? When I'm looking at menu design from a consumer's point of view, they don't want to have 50 treatments on a menu. They want to have 12 on a menu, right? But they want to make sure that those 12 are delivered in an exceptional way. When you reference back to what excellence looks like, particularly within the food and beverage industry, Michelin restaurants, for example, 2-star and 3-star restaurants will have 4 starters, 4 main courses, and 4 desserts. Now, why do they have that? Well, they can't deliver 50 meals, right, in a delivery in excellence every day. They have to bring it down to its absolute core. And I think the same applies to our industry. So I think you can be very ruthless about your menu, about what you stand for, what you're excellent for, and look at your menu where you can achieve the most amount of money. Therefore, your your engineering of that, and your menu engineering, that is very, very important. But make sure you're delivering excellence in everything you do, okay? In many cases, in my hotel spas, we're doing this process and we're removing things like beauty services. I can't deliver beauty services in an excellent way in comparison to my competitors, right, on the high street, right? If it's going to be an urban spa in a London location, even at the hot 5-star level, I know that the beauty spa down the road can deliver excellence into the manicures and pedicures. I can't, not at £35 for a manicure or £50 for a pedicure, all right? So why do I deliver it? For me, it's about delivering excellence and making sure you're delivering excellence in your menu, and being ruthless about that is really important. The great thing is it then allows you and your team to concentrate and have a higher expectation of excellence in delivery from those 10 or 12 high-yielding treatments. So for me, less is more, and that might be counterintuitive to what you think and what you're doing right now. But if you're talking about execution excellence, you must allow your team to have that 12 to 15 treatments they do absolutely brilliantly every single day, in the same way that a Michelin chef does. It's sales, not marketing, right? So I think you need to remove the word marketing from anything that you do. You don't have any marketing money, right? Realistically, if you're working in a day spa or working in a hotel spa, you haven't got large amounts of marketing money. You're not making above level decisions. You're not buying advertising hoardings, right? What you're doing is selling, okay? And so the idea of sales, not marketing, is really, really important. It's also a word that people need to become familiar with and comfortable with within your business, right? We know from experience that the idea of sales is obviously an off-putting for therapy teams or reception teams, and it shouldn't be. It's a natural part of the process. We're selling every day. It's selling ourselves or a product or something to a consumer, all right? Or when we're meeting people in relationships, it's all about our sales and selling process. And sales should not be a word that's seen as dirty or for somebody else. It's everybody's responsibility. Your responsibility as a commercial leader is to sell, right? It's not to market, all right? There's small elements of marketing that you actually do, but really everything you spend your money on should have a sales outcome. You're not in the business of, you're not Adidas or Nike or some very, very big company positioning yourself as a brand, right? What you are is an individual unit or a group of units looking to sell and generate commercial success, and therefore sales process, sales expectations, sales KPIs. When you're spending money on activity through social media or outreach, whatever it's going to be, has a sales outcome that's measurable, all right? But I think that in the team group dynamic, the idea of selling should be fun, right? Certainly there are targets. Certainly you want to be rewarding success, right? And training those that aren't able to succeed, right? But you should make this a fun element for your team and your business and celebrate success together. But by removing the word marketing, you're already making a very, very big step in that process for you and your business. And I think when we talk about sales and we don't say marketing, we say promotional mix, this becomes really, really important for you, okay? And a very, very clearly defined promotional mix that takes place over the course of daily, weekly, monthly, annually, right? Where you're understanding what are my promotional touch points for my business, right? I'm giving you 2 examples here. One's from a resort. Let's focus on the urban locations where many of you come from. So day spa market, group day spa market, and so on. Primary for me are probably 3 areas. One is what I call SEO and SEA. So where do you rank when I go searching for spa, Durban, luxury, or massage quality Durban, right? Where do you rank within that? Are you page 3? Are you top of page 1? Where you want to be is top of page 1, because unfortunately our customers and consumers are very lazy and they only go to the first page of any search. Therefore, SEO, search engine optimization, and trying to grow that in both a paid and organic way is vital, right? It's really the most vital thing. It's the absolute window case for your business, all right? The other 2 areas that are cost effective, that really reaching consumers, are naturally social media and PR, right? So for me, social media is of primary importance. whether it's going to be your own Instagram page, regular updates, promotions, activities, attractiveness, bringing in influence into your business. We'll talk about that a bit later on, right? That becomes your main outreach. And I think my advice to you here is be specific. Where do you want to be and which platform do you want to use, right? Don't put and disdain Facebook. It still remains a very, very strong sales tool for everybody. Social media is different in different locations. But for my parents' generation, Facebook is the place to be. And in many cases, our parents are the ones who spend lots of money on spa and well-being, right? So it might not be TikTok and Instagram, which other people use, but still a very vital tool to reach your audience. So where is your audience using social media? And is your platform aligned to that audience, right? Where the capture can be in the commercial sector be created, not necessarily the social media platform that you use. We'll go on to other things like local capture and packages and regular guests, but all of this just comes together to create your internal and external promotional mix, looking at things like your CRM, your customer database, which for any day spa is probably gold for you, and working that regularly. How you're doing events and PR to drive awareness for your business. What can you do in terms of corporate sales and outreach? One of the biggest areas of income, which is often overlooked, is gift voucher sales, which for us is a significant part of our business and income. And it's just always sometimes being seen as being disdained. And also, lastly, I would say having regular events and regular items of parties in your spa and in your business in order for you to promote and create commercial success. That is a 12-month plan. Every single touch point's got a clear outcome and a clear understanding of what you're going to invest, what you're going to do, and it covers the entire gamut. And you work that ruthlessly. Two areas I would say as sort of personal tips when it comes down to the promotional mix is less is more, right? I see many times within my leadership within spas, this rush to create new packages and programs. And every 2 weeks, a new treatment coming out or a new promotion coming out, right? Your consumers can't keep up, right? They're not seeing it. You should be thinking about doing 6 strong promotions every year and working them hard over a 2-month period, right? The first 2 weeks of any launch of a new program, a new package, right, will not be seen by your consumers. It will take at least 2 to 4 weeks to reach the market, to gather some word of mouth, to get people coming in and trying it, and then for them to adopt it and maybe do it again, all right? So you've got to make sure it's not too much happening too often, or you get into a panic cycle about doing lots of promotions. Create your annual plan, have 5 or 6 promotions in the course of the year, and work them ruthlessly and train them ruthlessly. Because it's going to take at least 2 weeks before you launch a package to make sure that your entire team knows the program, knows the package, can deliver the treatment experience consistently, that if you're in a hotel context, your front office and other parts know about it, all your advertising spend is reaching the consumer, right? So less is more when it comes down to packages and programs over the course of the year. The second area is work your annual dates hard, right? And again, this will be things like Valentine's Day. And people will go, oh, eye roll, Emlyn, Valentine's Day, it's so boring. Well, it's not boring for your consumers. They love that day, right? It's a really vital part of heavy spend, okay? And the reason why they get this eye roll about it, because you're bored about it, right? Our consumers love it. It's the most important day for doing sales. And if you're smart and you're clever, you'll combine your gift voucher sales, your product sales, your treatment room sales over a 2-week Valentine's period to maximize your income and work that situation hard. And the same goes for Mother's Day, and the same goes for Father's Day, and any other days that happen over the course of the calendar year that we all think are super boring, but our customers think are super amazing, right? And then on the Valentine's Day, you have that last minute person rushing in, wanting to spend $1,000 on a gift voucher because they forgot to buy something for Valentine's Day, right? It's the time where you can maximize, you have maximal interest in your product. Therefore, make sure you've got maximal promotion and opportunity to buy during those periods. Good. All right. When we come to, I mentioned this a little bit before, we come to packages and promotions. I think we spend a lot of time in our industry thinking about the package. Oh, let's do this combination of hot stone and lomi with a 90-minute of this and a great scrub of that and a pamplemousse different thing about this. That's great. That's the thing we're going to deliver. But how are you going to deploy and sell and promote that experience? Where are you going to sell it? Is it going to be online, social media, via your database? Are you going to call 100 people, the regular consumers in your spa, and offer it to them? Will you have an event? Will there be PR? Are you going to get journalists coming in? how are you going to deploy that experience into the marketplace is where 90% of the work is. It's not 90% of the work creating the treatment experience or the package or the program. It's the work is on how you deploy it to create commercial success. Every time you do a promotional activity, you will have a monetary target you want to achieve, which you can measure through the outcome of that promotion, and dedicate a much larger time in terms of keeping your clients. So when I'm talking about deployment and promotion, we should be promoting a lot more to our existing clientele than we do to winning new clientele. And too often that's being overlooked. Your database of existing clients, your top 250, is gold. It's your most important tool in commercial success. They're the people that are going to come to you every month, maybe every week. They're really where your primary commercial success comes from. If you analyzed your income, you looked at your repeat customers, I would guarantee that would be between 30 to 40% of your annual income from 250 people, particularly within a day spa marketplace. Too often we overlook and we don't reward that group of people. And we don't incentivize that group of people enough. And so your promotional mix is not just outside of new consumers, it's much more important for existing consumers to have a very, very clear plan of reward and retention and activity to bring them back in again and again and again. We talked about this and think what we call solo mo, so social, local, mobile, right? If it's not online, it's not being seen. Not on your telephone, it's not being seen. Make sure you choose the right platform for you. And I think two things that we like to see, I think within, again, day spas, other spas where you can be much more quicker to market than we can within a hotel environment, is that you can actually be using your team members via their social media. You can actually use your team members as the stars via your social media. They should all have a story, because they all have a great story to communicate to consumers and to your guests, right? In order to win fans and be more attractive, right? Imagery is king. So constantly updating and bringing in strong imagery, particularly video-based imagery, which is very, very cost-effective, should be happening on a quarterly basis to refresh your images of your spa, of your well-being space, or buying stock images in order to replace that, and some great images of your team. Your team are the stars, and placing them front and center in terms of your promotional mix, particularly on social media, will pay great benefit and great dividend. People want to see authenticity online. There's nothing more authentic than your team of therapists and people working in your spas. I think I like to focus on, I think that one of the cheapest and most effective ways of creating success that both bolsters both reputation, but also sales outcome is PR, right? And PR is not just your press, your local media or magazines. PR for me is now influencers, okay? So the modern journalist is now the person with 35 to 40,000 fans on Instagram. And they live in Cape Town, about 2 miles from your spa, right? If you were to analyze and look around your area via your social media, and you found 100 people that had 40,000 followers in various different forms, can be a fitness person, can be a vegan nutritionist, can be a restaurateur, can be a barber, can be a hairstylist, whoever it would be, they're the new media. And they're the people you're getting in to come and try your spa, experience your spa, and do posts about your spa, either non-incentivized or incentivized. The good thing is that, and this is a message I say to all of our team members, is that your spa downtime, so spa downtime for me is when you're not delivering treatments, right? So Mondays are 11 o'clock, as an example, where you have therapists working for you. That time is your marketing budget, or your sales budget, should we say, not marketing, right? Using that time and giving it to, in order to bring in influencers or people from the local market who then write about you, is great investment, right? It's cost effective. It keeps our therapists happy. It keeps our local influencers happy, and you're using your time effectively. So think about using your hours in your spa as your budget for sales and promotion. If you have downtime, if you have periods that are a bit off peak, how can I use that to create more success in the future? And one way is bringing in those 50 to 60 influencers from different various backgrounds to experience your spa and post about it to reach 40,000 people, right? What we call micro influencers are really, really important to our business, and they're very, very important to you within your context. Naturally, PR and press, regular PR releases, regular stories, great imagery can constantly go out from your spa and your well-being location on a regular basis. It's cost effective, it's free, and any press you generate and pick up will be picked up by consumers to generate more commercial success. And again, we talked about repeat customer, and I think that loyalty program, knowing who my top 250 are, knowing who my top 50 are, and definitely knowing who my top 10 are, right? In terms of my repeat customer base is where you can really generate that incredible commercial success, right? Your top 25 should be on first name terms with you when they're coming into the spa. You should know when they're arriving there to greet them personally. But they're the people that will be spending more spend on retail, more spend on treatments, and much more about referral. And they're really where you put your major focus in terms of creating success is by keeping those people happy, all right? Show regular appreciation, either through the handshake, through the eye contact, through recognition, or through gifting, right? Because the more you're going to give these guys from treatments, the more they're going to give you back in terms of sales. And having a very, very clear understanding about that repeat customer business, but also incentivizing it back to your commission for anybody who creates a new repeat customer. It's far, far more cost effective for you to generate, to create and keep repeat customers is to win new customers, right? And you'll be very, very surprised again, when you look at your revenue and break it down, how much money is coming from your repeat customers versus from you, right? The one-off person coming into a spa is great. The person coming 5 times in the course of 6 months is far, far better. You can then build a very strong personal relationship. Through personal relationship, you can create improved results, improve satisfaction, improve referral, and so on. And I think any plan you do on an annual basis should be all about generating a repeat customer and rewarding it and keeping hold of it. I think an often unused tool, we touched on it before, is your team and the idea of promotional personality, right? So if I go to my health club, and many of you members of health clubs, you go into the gym, on the wall, there'll be a picture of say 8 or 10 personal trainers. They'll have the great headshots. They'll have a description about who they are, where they came from, what their skills are, what they're good at doing, why you should train with them. Why don't we have that for our spa team? They've got incredible stories, incredible experiences. They've got specializations in different treatment techniques. It's okay to promote them. And by promoting them and saying to them via your value system, you're important to us, we're going to put you front and center of our promotional campaigns and programs, you make them more loyal. You make them more happy. You make them feel more valued. You know, when they feel more valued and more happy, they deliver better experiences. Deliver better experiences, you make more commercial success. So it becomes like a virtuous circle. And I think the personality of our team members is really a vital area and a very underused area of promotional technique that we can have within our businesses. So think about how you can do that and how you can actually leverage that in an important way. Last couple of points. I need to move a little bit quickly here. But I think when you're looking at promotion, looking at campaigns for sales, think out of the box, right? What can you do that's different? What can you do that's capturing the imagination? I think about one program from a hotel group called the Hoxton that every quarter gave away 400 rooms at £1. It was a quarterly activity, right? So we knew that every quarter, someday, the Hoxton would give away 400 to 500 rooms for £1 only. It's a call in, make the reservation, make the booking. They generated naturally thousands and thousands of phone calls. And once the people had called in, they're going to buy the room anyway. So maybe they sold it at £50, £80, or £100, right? But it captured my imagination. I've always thought about that program as being very, very, very successful. So for example, right, if you were to say on an annual basis that you have 100 spa treatments at £1, and I don't know if you still use the rand or not, I hope you do, right? Would that capture the imagination? It would capture my imagination. It's about 15 pence, right? But you're going to generate 300 to 400 phone calls. And if the person misses out on that £1 treatment, you sell them a treatment at 500 rand. I'm making it up, all right? But get the idea. Can you do something that's going to inspire people to get on the phone and make a call and create urgency? And I think that's an interesting way of grabbing the attention of the audience and being really, really time specific with that period. So it's only going to be this day, 24 hours, and so on, right? It's a little bit like your November sales online or your Black Monday, whatever it's called. Can you create that type of activity and urgency within some of your promotional mix? Not all the time, but once or twice a year to generate more leads, generate more calls, generate more interest and more attractiveness. I don't mind dynamic pricing. And dynamic pricing or surge pricing is when you're more popular, it costs more money. Now, if you fly on an airline, you're very, very used to paying surge pricing, all right? So summer holiday time when the kids are off, It's twice as expensive when the kids are not off. And those that have children and having summer holidays or winter holidays now, you understand exactly what I mean, right? In hotels, hotel rooms go up or down depending on seasonality. Can you bring in surge pricing at certain times of your week, your month, or your year? Would Valentine's Day, for example, be more expensive than a normal day? I think it would. The popularity and the surge is there, right? So can you have off-peak pricing that incentivizes people to come in during lower interest periods, Monday to Wednesday, for example? So I wouldn't be afraid now of thinking and experimenting with a surge pricing or a dynamic pricing model. People are used to it, and I think it reflects the nature of your business. Our prices are usually fixed, they're constant. It's the same on a Saturday as it is on a Monday. That for me doesn't make sense, right? It should be more expensive during times when people are off work and have availability to it and the demand is there versus when it's not. So again, I think there's another important tool in terms of you to yield your business in a more way is to start thinking about yielding, surge pricing, dynamic pricing, and popular periods. When you're, for example, you're taking away treatments or lower yield treatments and only selling high yield treatments. So you can do it in many different ways, but managing your yield, managing your pricing, revenue management over the course of a day, a week, a month, or a year is really where that another 10% of income comes. And that 10% of income is where your extended EBITDA and GOP comes from. So to recap, before I move on to my next call, is I think the first part is know your team members, have a strong value system that you use for your hiring process, but more importantly, know your consumer and definitely know who your regular consumers are. Make sure you understand your sales mix. So where's your promotional mix going to come from? Remove the word marketing, focus on sales, and think about SOLO, social, local, and mobile. Think about dynamic pricing. And think about using your off-peak periods and treatment times to be your PR machine and your Instagram follower machine for locals coming in. But most importantly, spend more time on deployment than you do on creation of packages, and make sure you're pivoting towards that sort of newer service value and casual service value that will attract your team members and attract your consumers. And I think that, in a nutshell, would be how I would create more commercial success for you in your business. Thank you very much.
Wow, okay, Emlyn, I have a lot of questions and I'm sure everybody else does, but
I can take 3 questions.
Okay, well, I don't know if anybody wants to ask, but I'll quickly ask you the dynamic pricing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you say this is my price and then on the quieter days discount it? Or do you have 2 definitive sets of prices? How do you work it on the back end in your system?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think 2 definitive sets is much easier. I call something I say weekends versus weekday, right? Which is very normal. Health clubs do peak and off peak. So I think I keep that pretty constant. What I do is if I've got a really important period, like let's say Valentine's Day, I only sell high yield packages. So it's a minimum 3-hour booking, right? So I take away the things that you can normally book and say, I'm sorry, we're only doing rituals today. Or we're only doing rituals on this day. So it's not just about the actual price points, but what you sell, and then cutting off things that you want to, they don't make a lot of yield from, right? Or you don't yield enough from, right? So you can do it in many different ways. But I think transparency, peak and off peak, is better than changing your prices all the time. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds amazing. And then when you said front desk to incentivize them, how do you do that? Do you have any examples of?
I give I recognize the process. So in some cases, we've taken away retail sales responsibility from our therapist team, and we've given it to the front office. Because the natural way it works is therapists come out, they're like, oh, here's some recommendations, and they give it to somebody, and the person actually closes it in our reception. So what we're looking at doing is having dedicated reception team doing retail. It's a much easier way of us working, all right? Okay. We then also have measurements in terms of upsells, right? So if we've seen a treatment come in and they're coming into the spa and we're able to push that to another 30 minutes, there's commission sold on that. And we also do a group revenue target, right? So the entire reception team has a clear budgetary target. Let's call it $500,000, what it's going to be for a course of a month. And if they meet that target, there's a group commission split between all of them. So it creates a nice dynamic. Yeah. And at the same time, they're constantly being told where they're at, what they're doing, what they can do. Everyone understands that every piece they piece towards that target helps them. And that reward's substantial, you know. It's 8 to 10% of, of their salary, for example,
Okay, that's amazing. And then the last one quickly is on name mentions on TripAdvisor or whatever, hotel feedback forms. How do you incentivize that? Is it a once-off amount that you give them for per name mention?
Every time they get mentioned, they get a reward, and that reward could be some sort of visual reward, could be a financial reward, could be a gift. I like to give gifts for mentions, keeps it nice and soft, keeps it nice and organic, right? And I like to also understand, how do my team members like to be rewarded, right? Okay. Some people want to get a great cake and the whole group around and well done, you were mentioned. Some people want to have a pat on the back. Some people want to have a small gift voucher. Some people want to have a treatment in a spa. All right. So I can use my spa treatments as also ways to incentivize that. But every time you're mentioned, you're rewarded. All right.
Wow. Okay. I love it. Love. Okay. So if there is any other questions, I'll get it from our community and I'll put it forward to you on an email. And when you have a gap, then you can give us a shout out. Thank you so much for your time. And as usual,
no problem, everybody.
Never get tired of listening to you. Ciao, Emlyn.
Big success, everybody. Nice to see you all. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Awesome. Okay, everyone. So that was amazing. Emlyn has to rush off. We'll do a little summary of that, as well as have the recording for all of you who need it or who would like to see it. But he's definitely got my brain thinking about, getting out of the box a little bit, right? Becoming a little bit more unreasonable in our delivery and unreasonable in the systems that we put in place. I'm loving it because it's really pushing us out of our boundaries, actually. So I can't wait to start putting some of these things into practice. So thank you to everybody for attending. It was amazing. I'll put out the next session that we're having in August. Definitely another one not to be missed. Her name is Christina. And she is currently with a group called Arch Amenities in the USA. Again, another fireball cracker, get you out of your comfort zone. And that's really what we're doing here at Spa Professionals Guild is I'm trying to find a good balance of international speakers to get us thinking out of how we're accustomed to thinking. But at the same time, I also want to give you some meat, because sometimes you want a session that helps you motivate your staff, or how to run a very good KPI session with your teams. And that I will run with you. But we meet up twice a month. Okay, you all know that. So it's 2 hours a month. That's all that we need from you. And that's it, everybody. We're going to finish on time today. Hope you have the best afternoon and love you all lots. Can I have a checkout word, maybe? A word to say how you're feeling now after this session? Joanne, as usual, ever faithful online. Amazing. Cara as well, also always here. Inspired. Teresa, inspired. Yes, love that. Yvette, good. Inspired. Nice. New ideas. Yeah, hey, Cara, talk about new ideas. Every single time we meet, I always think, I wonder what we're going to get out of this. And every single meeting, there is even one thing. So it makes it all worth it. Nice. Danielle, I'm happy you managed to jump on. Good. Melanie, also so happy you jumped on. Motivated, energized, the Beletza group. That's the best news. Okay, everyone. Cheers. See you soon. Have the best night. Bye.